So for those of you who already know, there's a new stage on LeftTube. It's called the drama meta. So I guess I'm just gonna watch this video that says it's not a drama video. It's by Noah Samsen. I don't really know who that is. I know it's about Vaush. I know a lot of people are talking about it. First time seeing this. I'm pretty unbiased on probably whatever's going on, so I'm just gonna see if I have any 2 cents to throw in. And this is kind of a long video, so let's see if we can do that.
Michael. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Check out how green everything is. Check out how green all that stuff is. Check out how green everything is. Check out...
The stuff is pretty green. So far, pretty true.
How green all that stuff is. So, a little while ago, I released a video called Solving the Debate Bro Problem. This video set out to criticize 2 left-leaning political live streamers, Vaush and Xanderhall, for behavior that I found problematic. I looked at a few different examples, so Vaush's interaction with the smaller video essayist Professor Flowers, Xanderhall's video that was critical of myself and some other lefty content creators, and various elements of their respective communities' behavior. After the video's release, Vaush and Xanderhall both...
I am not familiar with either of those 2 videos, or this person's videos about those videos or people, so I hope this video is not about that.
Both reacted to it live on their streams in videos that have since been uploaded to YouTube. They had many criticisms. I went on to Vaush's stream to talk with him about some of those criticisms. Vaush also released another video on the subject titled Solving the Video Essayist Problem, which was critical of my video's argumentation, or lack thereof. Some say that, not me though. I would never say that. I've linked all of those in the description if you're sort of a creep that wants to watch all that stuff. The video's reception was, well, divisive might be the right word. On the one hand, you had a lot of people who understood where I was coming from, who empathized with my frustrations about these spaces, or just were able to have a laugh at the way I went about highlighting them. Vine boom sound. Vine boom sound. Vine boom sound. Vine boom. On the other hand though, a lot of people didn't like the video. This dislike ranged from, hey man, normally like your videos, but this one was a miss. This wasn't it, Chief. Mr. Chief, this was not it. Mr. Chief. Halo 7. Marriage, all the way to this is the worst video essay of all time that should be wiped clean from the internet along with your channel. The latter response was basically the takeaway from the streamers themselves.
I am not joking when I say to all of you with full sincerity that this is quite possibly the worst takedown I've seen.
It's really disappointing how much of the online left can be convinced by such stupid arguments if they're said by somebody with a nice mustache and some bisexual lighting and the lo-fi chill music in the background.
Vaush at one point even offered me a cash reward of double.
That is a pretty nice mustache. I will give that. I will give that.
The video's ad revenue to take it down.
If Noah Samsen deletes the video and publicly retracts the information within, then he can screenshot the AdSense info within it, and I will give him money so that he doesn't lose a cent from deleting it. I'll double it.
So naturally, I took it down. I got the money, and then I put the video back up. I plan on doing that a few hundred more times. Vaush just keeps paying me. Unlimited money glitch. Motherload. Just kidding, that whole thing was a joke. I can't take money from the CIA, I still use TurboTax, it would be a mess. But okay, why are we here today, Noah? Why are we talking about your last video? Grow up, move on. Well, I want to talk today about what I experienced in the aftermath of making it. I want to do this because after I released the video, frankly, some weird stuff happened, and some bad stuff happened. And I want to talk about that, and connect the weird, bad stuff to the experiences of other people. I want to outline how this happens, what the backlash from debate streaming communities looks like, what's at stake for some of the people who experience it, and maybe...
I don't know what this person's necessarily going to talk about, but I feel like being a debate streamer probably doesn't necessitate communities that bring about bad consequences, so grouping it that way kind of seems weird, but I'll listen.
What can be done about it eventually? Probably not today, but someday. So yeah, super vague, but I will get into it. Right after, we quickly take a moment of silence for all those lives lost during that one thing, and then we take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Casetify. If you like having a phone that isn't all fucked up and gross and weird, then you're gonna love Casetify. These phone cases are the bee's knees. Made with recycling. They're like really well made. There's 3 of them. 8 feet. The cases are also cool styles and 9% of bacteria. Save your phone so you can call your family or something, I don't know. Okay, back to the video now. Alright, so after all of the events that I went over, which was my video, the responses, the debate, and the other content, I started seeing one comment pop up in different places on the web. The comment says that basically in my conversation with Vaush, I walked back my entire video, admitted to it being full of lies and misinformation, and should therefore delete the video. I've received versions of this comment hundreds of times, maybe thousands at this point if we're counting tweets, from not only fans of these creators, but from the creators themselves. So is this what happened? Did I walk back my video in the debate? And at first, I wasn't sure, so I watched it back, only to discover that, no, this did not happen. In my
I cannot confirm nor deny. Have not seen that stream.
Conversation with Vaush, I conceded 3 points, and none of these points stand in the way of my video's main arguments. The driving issues behind my video, the reasons why I made it, were Vaush's treatment of Professor Flowers and Xanderhall's problematic language. The 3 points that I conceded in the debate had nothing to do with these. It has been a little while, so if your memory's a little hazy, On it, I encourage you to go back and watch the debate. That is what happened. And yet, here we have countless people jumping into my comment sections to self-righteously proclaim something that is demonstrably false, and using this falsehood as a justification to force my hand into deleting a video. That seems a bit weird, right? Lest this come off as me saying that no, I did not get owned actually, as I slowly shrink into a corn cob. That's not true. I did get owned. Roughly 1 million people on the internet think I'm the worst video essayist of all time. And I'm fine with that. Honestly, I am. What I'm not a big fan of, though, is being bullied. And sometimes it's hard for me to tell when that's happening. And I have since realized that it did happen here. Now, here one might object, well, Noah, you went onto the debate stream and you were conciliatory. You didn't argue for your positions well, and you backtracked enough points that if people got the impression that you don't believe what you said in your video, can you really blame them? And initially, I actually agreed with this point. I was like, yeah, I guess this is just kind of what happens when you go on debate streams, especially if you go on unprepared and unseasoned in the art of debate, as I was and still am. I'm not coming back on, guys, so don't ask. I should have known better than to go on that stream. Ultimately, this might be my fault, or so I thought. When I actually took a step back, though, and thought about it, and then watched the debate a few more times, I realized that no, that's bullshit. People should not be allowed to lie about stuff just because I didn't go full debate lord in the debate realm. That should not be standard procedure. I entered.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that people are lying. I mean, I think this seems to be more of an opinion-based thing than lying. It can also be like a question of the optics of your performance that might have led people to be led to believe that you were backtracking. I don't know
that conversation.
It would seem uncharitable to say that these people are all just lying, but whatever.
Attempting to seek understanding. I felt bad, frankly, after seeing how poorly my video was received.
Like, what the fuck is that?
And how if my goal was to put a stop to the bad behavior I tried to call out, and the video was a failure. I went on wanting to try to, figure out what went wrong, I guess. And when this audience of people saw me do that, what they saw was weakness, and they took that weakness as a sign to go on the attack. And that's what they did. They took whatever they could to discredit me, and now because of this, they feel justified, vindicated even, in bullying me into silence. Cancel culture, the woke Twitter mob strikes again. One thing that's been brought up a few times is the question of where do we draw the line between criticism and harassment? Where does warranted punishment for having a bad take turn into abuse? I think making this distinction at times can be difficult, but I think in the case of larger streamers like Vaush, there are factors about their medium which can elevate standard criticism into harassment territory quicker and more easily than creators in other mediums. It can also sustain this harassment for longer than it might elsewhere. And this is really more of a theory derived from what I've seen these creators say and my own experiences. But okay, you have a few thousand people watching it, giving you positive feedback, and that feedback is reciprocated. The chat's like, oh man, they're doing you dirty, man. It's super fucked up what they're doing to you, dude. Oh, they're really bad. And sometimes the streamer's like, you know what? Yeah, they are fucked up, dude. Fuck these guys. I hate them. Spit on them. And the chat's like, yeah. A lot of times the chat wants blood. This is something that has been acknowledged within the community. Now, I'm really not trying to point the finger of blame in any one direction.
That's kind of the point of internet debates in general. It's like blood sports. It's supposed to be sort of performative. That's kind of like the audience that it's supposed to cultivate.
Here, this process has a lot of moving parts. You have the creators themselves, their orbiters, the communities, the subreddits, the forums, the hours and hours and hours of streams, the comment sections, where the spiciest, most sycophantic takes are rewarded with the sweet, sweet dopamine of likes and faves and retweets and reposts. And all of it coalesces into one single force field that incentivizes drama farming and misrepresentation. Maybe we could term this the Vaush Effect or something, because I think a lot...
I don't know if drama farming is necessarily just a thing in the debate community or debate community, whatever. It's kind of just everywhere on the left, online left at least. It appears to me. Is this not drama? Is the original video not drama? I don't know.
A lot of times, criticisms against him are actually criticisms of this effect. But this energy bounces back and forth between fandom and creator until narratives are formed. And then those narratives are used as justification for all kinds of bullying, harassment, and coercion against perceived adversaries. And given the distance and speed at which these narratives can travel, a lot of times there's enough space between the actual harassment going on and the creators that it's really difficult to hold people accountable. But what's worse is that sometimes you get creators directly calling for the harassment, dogpiling, or brigading of other creators. If you're familiar with these spaces, you're probably familiar with this approach. Recently, Vaush did this to a creator some of you may know. Her name is Natalie Wynn, aka ContraPoints, LeftTube's mom. In the aftermath of the Vaush JK Rowling ironic misogyny debacle, none of those words are in the Bible. Natalie criticized Vaush for centering himself.
Okay, hold on. I'm not too familiar with everything going on, but from everything that I know, I do not recall Vaush necessarily calling for the active brigading of ContraPoints. I remember Vaush going over this whole dispute over the J.K. Rowling thing and other people's takes on it, but I don't remember for the explicit calling or harassment or brigading of anyone. That could be a consequence that happens from large creators with big audiences engaging with each other contentiously, but I don't know. Maybe this person will substantiate it in the video.
In the conversation on trans advocacy. And then during his stream, Vaush said this.
The thing that really bothers me is this not exactly like all of the woke scolds who would reply to ContraPoints and say stuff like, are you done invalidating the voices of trans women who have been hurt by your content? It's such a shitty, presumptuous woke scold kind of behavior because you're presupposing, the more viewer in the replies being like, that's not what's happening right here. This is necessary, okay? Publicly shame her into changing her mind on this.
So what he did here is harassment.
That's not what's happening right here.
Hold on.
Scold kind of behavior because you're
Okay, from everything I know, that wasn't reading this tweet. I don't think that Vaush's argument was necessarily that being misogynistic is necessary for like arguing the existence of trans people. I think the argument that Vaush was more so making was that we should have been dunking on J.K. Rowling. The sexism was edgy, but like it's arbitrary whether or not like where we draw the line on like edgy jokes. I think that was the argument. And then calling like for people to point out that this is a straw man of argument and like shame Contra for it. I don't think that's necessarily harassment. Not really telling anyone to like harass Contra for their character or like bully them or even say anything hurtful, just more so like point out that like you just made a bad argument. I don't
Presupposing,
know,
yeah.
which seems
The more viewer in the replies,
to me like kind of fair. I mean, you probably it's kind of weird to encourage your community to do it, but it's like, I mean, it just seems like kind of inconsequential.
being like
The people who would say like bad and mean and hurtful things rather than like point out like what the actual argument was would have probably done that either way. And Vaush didn't call for that, so I don't know.
that's not what's happening right here. Like, this is necessary, okay? Publicly shame her into changing your mind on this.
So what he did here is harassment. With 7,000 people watching, he made an explicit command to his supporters, telling them to go pile onto Natalie with support for his position until she changed her mind, or, you know, bent the knee, as it were. And lo and behold, his audience followed suit. And shortly after this, Natalie ended up locking her Twitter account and blocking Vaush. Now, I'm not a mind.
Well, I mean, when you're having an argument on Twitter, I mean, it's kind of just natural that you're gonna get just responses from people and their fans. So I don't know. It seems a little bit much to private your Twitter over that, but okay.
Mind reader, okay? I can't pretend to know exactly what her motivations here were for doing these things. What I can tell you, as someone who has gone through what I would
It is your choice to do whatever you want, so if that's what Contra wants, that's what Contra can do.
consider a similar experience, being dogpiled by Vaush fans, this response does not surprise me at all. In the face of being flooded with massive amounts of undue condescension, I completely understand the decision to go private and block him. Doesn't matter how big your platform is or how experienced you might be, this stuff can really take a toll on you. This dogpiling is one of the things that drove Lindsay Ellis, another prominent video essayist, into quitting YouTube altogether. I mentioned before how Vaush offered me a cash bounty of double my ad revenue if I deleted my video. Well, when I did actually take the video down for a short period of time, he made a point to say that while his offer did still stand, it wasn't meant to be like a threat. It was intended as more of a chest-beating mafia-style sort of bluff thing.
It does make me look bad, though. It was meant to be kind of like a mafioso chest-beating thing, which I only did because I've been sort of compromised by this, you know?
Which, in a way, I understand. I didn't see it as a malicious thing. The problem with that, though,
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think it just seemed more like Vaush was trying to make a joke about like how shit he perceived the video to be, and like that he was willing to pay to get it taken off YouTube. But I don't know what the context, so I'm just.
is what this sentiment results in. When Vaush says stuff like this, he might be using ironic bravado or whatever, but his following, when they say it, when they call me a spineless loser that should delete his channel and make fun of me for stuttering and various other bad stuff, they mean that shit. These people become emboldened by this rhetoric to act in a manner that might on the surface just seem abrasive, but in actuality ends up being just...
Now that shit, like making fun of this person for stuttering and shit, now that's fucked up. Yeah, don't do that. That's fucked up. Now, to blame Vaush for that, that's a little weird. I mean, he didn't call for any of that, but yeah, people don't do that. That's weird. Don't attack the argument, not the person.
genuinely abusive and coercive. And much like how each tweet from his fans that went after Natalie all berated her with the same message, that she's wrong, with the intent of bullying her into changing her mind, each comment on my video was essentially a copy and paste of his statements, with the intended goal of bullying me into deleting it. I'm not liking this floof here. How do I get rid of the floof? Haircut? Is that how you do it? It does make me wonder, like, how much of this is motivated by his fans' genuine beliefs, and how much of it is them just following orders. And while the exact ratio may be tough to find, I do know that were he not to make these statements and commands, this dogpiling would not be taken.
Okay, like, people, I mean, just when you're when there's online creators, and obviously there's going to be a cult of personality. Like, the people are going to end up, certain people in the community at least are going to end up idolizing that person and doing whatever it is they believe, or believing whatever it is they believe. That's just kind of natural. I wouldn't say like that's a thing of like debate bros or like specifically Vaush. Like, that's how it is.
Taking place. It's precisely this effect, the collective Vaush unconscious, that had me legitimately doubting my own intentions with my video. The influx of this type of stuff in the week after its release is part of what led me to actually taking the video down for a little bit. If you read things like this enough times, it really starts to get into your head. The combination of them being so confident that they're correct, while airing these feelings of victimization with...
I mean, I mean, like this comment that we get right here, like this isn't like, this is someone just like really expressing like a opinion. Like they don't think the video is good. Like, sure, they're being harsh about it, but like, I guess I could have said it nicer, but like, this isn't really like harassment. Like, this is just like someone thought that you made like a shit video, so like they're saying delete it. I don't know. It's not. You can also like always choose not to read the comments or like block certain words, I guess, in your comment section. Like, there's always other options.
with such condescension. This is what eventually results in people being forced to fall in line by this community. It results in damage control when things come out that make them look bad, and it's a really problematic dynamic. Another more recent example of this dynamic can be found in an extremely long and complicated interaction that Vaush had with the YouTuber.
I don't know, like, I don't think words on like the internet are necessarily enough to like make someone fall in line. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Cat Black. To be clear, this one was a mess. As such, I'm only going to look at one specific example from it that relates to what I'm talking about here. I will try to give as much context as is necessary. So, around the time of Vaush's JK Rowling stuff, Kat made a tweet thread asking specifically trans women in her audience about the efficacy of the ironic misogyny Vaush displayed. So basically asking, what do we think about this? Vaush eventually messaged her about the thread, and they went back and forth. Kat ended up leaking these DMs when she felt that Vaush had misrepresented their contents to his stream. So during this exchange, Vaush's community attempted to rewrite the order of events with the goal of discrediting Kat by painting her as a sexual abuser. Their justification for this accusation was that Kat had made sexual comments about Vaush without his consent, pictured here. What this accusation is leaving out, though, is that what she said here was directly responding to Vaush saying this on his stream while referencing Kat.
Yeah, Vaush, pretty much exactly what Kat states season 2. All right, are you guys ready for the mildest hot take in the universe? Okay. Super idpol, like, lefty black women who are like really condescending to white people in terms of their ability to engage in political discourse. Love fucking white dudes. It's the exact same reason that racist white guys all watch interracial porn to jerk off to. It's the exact same thing. It's identical. There's no difference. It's literally the exact same goddamn thing. It's true. I'm sorry, guys. People who have like racist thoughts tend to like weirdly fetishize like interracial race shit for like probably reasons they should be more critical of.
So neither of these things are good, right?
Okay, wait, hold on.
Right? Weird, sexually charged, invasive race play fetish rants are bad. Body shaming and leaking DMs are also bad, generally speaking. Her reasoning for leaking the DMs justifies the leak, in my opinion, but that's just me. However, while people can argue back and forth about which of these is worse, the point here is that the offensiveness
Hold on.
the DMs justifies the leak, in my opinion, but that's just me. However,
So, I don't know if Vaush's comment about like people who are like sort of like racist or racially prejudiced, like have these like weird like interracial relationships. I don't know if it's true or whatever, but I don't think that is equivalent to like this. Like, the first one is like, I guess like it could be deemed as like an inappropriate comment to make about someone, but this is like just very clearly cut and dry like sexual harassment. Like, and also like the part about like white, like it's just kind of weird. Like I don't know, you're just kind of being weird when you say that. Like, it doesn't, I don't know.
while people can argue back and forth about which of these is worse, the point here is that the offensiveness of what Vaush said was almost completely ignored, while the offensiveness of what Kat said has been singled out and used as a line of attack. I'm not making a comment about which is worse. We shouldn't do
Okay, but well, what the reason why you're not making a comment about which is worse is because it's clear and it probably wouldn't support your agenda, because you know 1000% of what Vaush said was worse. This person would definitely point out that what Vaush said was worse. Yeah.
Do either, but the point stands, especially given that her tweet is directly responding to this invasive rant from Vaush. He said that stuff first. There is a different standard being applied here by this audience of people, and that's bad. Also, what's important to note here is that Kat later acknowledged her mistake in making this comment about Vaush.
No, this kind of misses the picture. Sorry, I was just reading this for a minute. It's not an expectation thing. It's not because I expect Vaush to be more crass, which is why I have more offense to what this person, or like why I think what this person would be saying is worse. Because I don't even know this person. I didn't know they're not crass. The reason why what you said is worse is just because it's far more, I don't know, like weird and like sexual harassment-y, like like what Vaush said. Sure, I guess like it's kind of weird to say, but like at most it's just kind of like a weird like insult someone levied at you, whereas what you said is like just straight up like sexual harassment.
in a tweet thread. But did Vaush acknowledge making any mistakes here, like talking about her in that manner on his stream? I don't know, and I have no plans of watching a 7-hour stream to find out. Maybe he did, but based on how his community still calls her a sexual harasser to this day, I have my doubts. And okay, so another thing somebody might say here is, well, Noah, doesn't your video encourage people to dogpile onto debate bros? It does paint them in a pretty bad light. Why is what you've done just considered criticism, but when we do it, it's harassment? And the thing is, you would be right to ask these questions. I'm willing to acknowledge that videos like mine contribute to this culture. They create negative impressions that can lead to dogpiling. It took me going through all of this to realize that this is one of the responsibilities of having a platform, and it's something I plan on taking seriously moving forward. You can't control what everyone does online, obviously, but you can take steps to be more responsible. So something like making it clear to my audience that if they're going to comment on someone's work who I'm criticizing, don't do it unless you're going to be constructive, or at least not be a dick. But my videos lack of disclaimers.
Well, I think that you could be a dick and still like, levy a good argument. Like, obviously, you're still being a dick, but like that's just like being mean isn't like an ultimate evil, I guess. Like, I could still say something like constructive while being mean. I don't know. Like, it's not like it's the internet. Like, people are gonna be mean. Like, there's a point where the line gets drawn. Obviously, not all forms of like being mean are okay, but like just like someone being like crude, like saying delete your video is not like enough to constitute like bullying.
Is so much different than Vaush actively weaponizing his audience against other creators, dogpiling them and coercing them into getting what he wants. And I think that difference is worth taking into account. And despite this difference, despite the fact that my video essay did not explicitly call for any public action against Vaush, as he's done here, I do recognize that it still could have had the same effect, which again is why not just for streamers, but video essays too, and really everyone on this platform with a large audience, we need to be more responsible.
Wait, hold on. What? Then I guess I'm confused with the whole point of like the title of the Vaush Effect, or like solving the debate bro problem. If this person acknowledges that this is something that like any form of creator can like contribute to, it seems like you're just like, oh, there's these people who I don't like, so I'm going to single them out for like contributing to this problem. I don't know.
Especially when we're dealing with people who don't have our same level of protection. Now, I do want to be clear here. Once there was some communication between Vaush and I, once he was at least aware that the video I made did not set out to attack him unjustly, this condescension died down. After around this time, as far as I know, he didn't go out of his way to stir up drama on his stream. The wave of these comments slowed. Also, a war started, so that could be part of it, but I didn't do that, so I would never do that. I hate war. He addressed our conflict on a recent stream, and did so in what I felt was a fair manner.
Noah Samsen. I don't think that he's dumb. A lot of people in my community have said that he's dumb. I don't actually think that. I think that snark, when applied unwisely, can often come across as dumb because it gives the impression of a sort of confident ignorance of a subject. You know, we'll see how things play out with him.
And I do appreciate this, but there's something missing here if I were to just leave it at that. Because while I'm willing to acknowledge that in our direct interactions, Vaush has been fair to me, what I can't look past is the way that through the mobilization of his community, he has caused harm, not just to me, but to other more vulnerable people. The backlash has been exhausting.
Vaush, that I know of. Other than maybe like the RGR situation, which I'm not even very familiar with, but that I know of, other than that situation, I do not believe that Vaush has mobilized his audience to be purposely like harassment-y to others. Like, saying shame someone for making a bad argument isn't necessarily like harassment. Like I don't know.
For me, I hit a low point during the weeks following my video's release, which was the lowest I've been in a long time. But the thing is,
if just making a video on someone's enough to mobilize your people to attack them, then again, yes, this person is being contradictory. And shit, I guess I'm falling into that same thing with my 142 subscribers.
No matter how bad this experience might have been for me, ultimately, I've had it easy compared to others, and there are a few reasons for this. I'm someone who already has a decently sized platform. I have a base of online support, and from this direct material stability, I do this full time, and I have the freedom to take breaks when things get heavy. What's more is that I am also afforded certain protections that a lot of other people are not. I cannot be attacked in the same way that marginalized creators can, with the weight of actual discrimination and persecution compounding on top of these attacks, with the attacks themselves being capable of levying transphobia, homophobia, sexism, or racism, of attacking people for who they are. They can't do that to me. What this means is that there's a certain amount of deferential treatment going on here that I think is worth exploring. The deferential treatment in this case being from the communities that are motivated by Vaush's actions. If you want an example of what this deferential treatment looks like, all we have to do is look at what happened to Professor Flowers. Professor Flowers released a video last week that goes over her experience of dealing with the backlash from debating Vaush. In it, she describes how difficult it's been for her to get back to making videos. It's taken her over 6 months to do so, and one of the reasons for this is the racist harassment that she has experienced. And regardless of how you feel that she portrayed herself in their debate or in any subsequent videos or streams, this is something that should be unacceptable. I do recommend that you go watch her video. I'll leave it linked in the description.
Well, okay. Yes, it's unacceptable, but I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that that's unacceptable. Like, I'm pretty sure if you went up to like the Vaush and you were like, this person's getting like racist harassment, Vaush would also agree that's bad. Did Vaush tell people to be racist and harass this person? Did Vaush say anything racially motivated to cause people to go out and do that? I don't know. I haven't watched any of this drama, so I don't know. But if that's not substantiated, I would assume not. And in that case, I would say that it's probably not really Vaush's fault. Like, there's obviously always going to be bad people doing bad things.
One of the most frustrating parts about this whole thing is the fact that even by just mentioning her in this video, I have to contend with the fact that I might be reigniting some level of harassment against her and any of the people I mention. And that's just really shitty, that's how this has to be. I did get her permission to include her in this video, but the fact that I felt the need to ask, I think, says something. Anyways, let's look at one example of differential treatment from her situation. So this is a thumbnail from a prominent Vaush Clips channel featuring an image of a photoshopped black Adolf Hitler. The video that this thumbnail is on is a segment from Vaush's debate with Professor Flowers. The video is titled, "Vaush owns a black white supremacist in this debate." It has been deceptively edited to make it seem as though Professor Flowers says things that she doesn't say. This includes a moment where they make it look like she calls her own father an oppressor because he's deceptively edited to make it seem as the segment from Vaush's debate with
So wait, is this by Vaush or is this by someone else? Hold on.
Thumbnail from a prominent Vaush Clips channel featuring an image of a photoshopped black Adolf Hitler. The video that this thumbnail is on is a segment from Vaush's debate with Professor Flowers. The video is titled, "Vaush owns a black white supremacist in this debate." It has been deceptively edited to make it seem as though Professor Flowers says things that she doesn't say. This includes a moment where they make it look like she calls her own father an oppressor because he's white. Many viewers took this at face value, commenting how messed up it was that she talk about her family like that, even though she never did. The account admits to having done this, but says that it's fine because according to them, she probably believes it anyway. This is something that should be unacceptable. And before you say that it is, that this sort of behavior is denounced and that members of Vaush's community are purged if they're found acting in racist ways, the channel has 25,000 subscribers. This is more subscribers than Professor Flowers herself has. Professor Flowers tweeted a screenshot of this thumbnail, which made the rounds. The video itself has 25,000 views and a 98% like to dislike ratio, and Vaush follows this account on Twitter. They know about this, they just don't care, or they don't see the racism. And I'm not really sure which one of these is worse.
I'm confused. Hold on. Let's run this back. What is the argument being made here?
And say. This includes a moment where they make it look like she calls her own father an oppressor because he's white. Many viewers took this at face value, commenting how messed up it was that she talk about her family like that, even though she never did. The account admits to having done this, but says that it's fine because according to them.
Okay, like I don't know what clip channel this is. I imagine it's a meme, but maybe not. I assume that's, I don't know. Maybe it's obvious it's a meme. Maybe it's not. Either way, I'm not sure if it's necessarily racist.
She probably believes it anyway. This is something that should be unacceptable. And before you say that it is, that this sort of behavior is denounced and that members of Vaush's community are purged if they're found acting in racist ways, the channel has.
Yeah, I mean, racism should be denounced. I'm just not quite sure if this is a specific instance. The
25,000 subscribers. This is more subscribers than Professor Flowers herself has. Professor Flowers tweeted a screenshot of this thumbnail, which made the rounds. The video itself has 25,000 views and a 98% than Professor Flowers herself has. Professor Flowers.
Trying not to look at this kind of stuff, but I happen to see someone edited a thumbnail of a black. I don't think it's, I mean, I'm not sure what the argument is, but I don't think it's inherently racist for someone to portray someone as a black Hitler if they're making those kind of arguments. But I don't know what the arguments were being made, but I think it's uncharitable to say that that's like inherently like a racist portrayal.
Flowers tweeted a screenshot of this thumbnail, which
I would need more justification. Like, I can't just have like it asserted. Like, I need more like explanation.
Made the rounds. The video itself has 25,000 views and a 98% like to dislike ratio, and Vaush follows this account on Twitter. They know about this, they just don't care, or they don't see the racism. And I'm not really sure which one of these is worse, but I think both should be unacceptable. A related example here.
Well, why don't you explain to me why it's racist then? Because currently I'm not like even a huge Vaush fan. I'm just like, I personally did not understand why that was racist, so I would have preferred for you to explain it to me instead of being kind of like condescending and saying either like I don't know what it is or I am purposely being so I don't, so like you don't know which is where, like explain it to me, damn it. Like, I don't fucking know. Why you're just saying it is? What the fuck?
Of this sort of differential treatment is with the creator that I mentioned earlier, Cat Black. Now, in the past month or so, following this interaction with Vaush, Cat has mentioned how she's experienced racist.
Hold on.
Differential treatment is with the creator that I mentioned earlier, Cat Black. Now, in the.
Why are white leftists on Twitter so racist? It's so odd to continuously have conversations with so-called leftists who seem to resist the idea of black people having conversations with themselves about their own oppression in a way that doesn't include them. It's really bizarre. I mean, I just don't. I think that's fine to have conversations with people who are affected by whatever oppression it is, like solely those people. But I think I don't think it really necessarily needs to just be that way. I think like everyone could probably be involved in the discussion. I don't see why not. Like people have good ideas and bad ideas from all different racial groups. I would agree that like being of that identity means that you're more likely to share experiences that shape your worldview to maybe a similar degree, or at least you have like more shared experiences that you can have dialogue over. Which other people might be lacking, but I don't get how that necessarily prevents them from becoming more educated on those issues, especially if you maybe invite them into the conversation. I don't know.
In the past month or so, following this interaction with Vaush, Kat has mentioned how she's experienced racism from white leftists even more.
You know, the funny thing, I actually don't get a lot of shit from racist white conservatives on here, but I do get a lot of shit from white leftist folks. I would actually argue way more. I mean, probably because all left-wing people do on Twitter is argue with each other. If I had to guess, if I had to scroll through this person's Twitter, it's probably mostly shitting on other left-wing people, because that's all leftists do now. It's literally just the drama meta. It's what this video is. It's what probably all the other videos that this person was even referring to, this Noah person. Yeah, it's just the meta right now.
More than she's seen from racist white conservatives. Now, for context, Kat is someone who's been around on YouTube for a long time, since 2005 to be precise. Goober Noah for scale here. This is me in 2005.
Hello.
Technically YouTubing, so that's cool. But my point is, Kat has been doing this for a while. She was on YouTube at the height of the anti-SJW wave, through all the reactionary and alt-right stages of content creators, and she's still uploading today. So when she makes this comment that she's received, quote, way more shit from white leftists than she does from racist white conservatives, immediately following this conflict with Vaush, with his identity politics arguments being spat at her online, well, that's something that should probably ring some alarm bells, no? A similar sentiment.
I mean, it also, like, have you maybe ever thought, like, maybe this person is a leftist, so they're gonna have more, like, white leftists, like, members in their audience, and also, like, just they're gonna be interacting with, more, like, white leftists and leftists in general, instead of, like, white conservatives. Like, that's something maybe you should take into consideration. I don't know.
It was expressed last month by Professor Flowers during another wave of harassment from Vaush fans. She wrote on Twitter, "I've literally experienced less racism growing up around white conservatives."
I mean, oh, I don't know.
There seems to be some sort of
Like, yeah.
pattern here that may be worth noting. I don't know what it is, but it's super crazy. Oh my gosh, what happened? I don't know. One of the ways that Vaush and his community
I mean, the pattern I'm noticing is that a lot of people are proclaiming that something is being racist, but I'm not having it explained to. As someone who's not very familiar with the disputes that's going on here, this seems like something that seems integral, like, to the whole argument that you're making. Like, I feel like I'm just being left in the dust. I just have no clue what's going on.
operate that serves to control the narrative is by outwardly and loudly condemning harassment when it is made public. I remember tweeting a screenshot of some harassment I received on Reddit DMs from a Vaush fan a while ago. Members of his community, like mods, immediately came in and sort of made a display of the fact that the person harassing me had been banned and that they didn't tolerate that type of stuff. And while I'm inclined to say that this is a good thing, that this is what is supposed to happen, at the same time, I can't help but wonder, why is this still up? Obviously, they know about it, and they haven't done anything. And my guess is that when it comes to people that they've collectively decided are okay to punch down on, people like Professor Flowers, then there's no real incentive to crack down on this stuff. When the people at the top have signaled that being mean and dogpiling the bad people is okay, then why would anyone say anything?
Hold on. Who? What would they say?
Harassment when it is made public. I remember tweeting a screenshot of some harassment I received on Reddit DMs from a Vaush fan a while ago. Members of his...
Yeah, okay, they said it was some nasty messages. Okay, I don't know what this person said. They said it was some nasty messages. Okay.
Community, like mods, immediately came in and sort of made a display of the fact that the person harassing me had been banned and that they didn't tolerate that type of stuff. And while I'm inclined to say that this is a good thing, that this is what is supposed to happen, at the same time, I can't help but wonder, why is this still up?
Right, so the reason why this is still up and why the person who sent you nasty messages got banned is because that person sent you nasty messages, and this is more like a crude analogy, I guess. Like yeah, like it's. I don't think this is how is calling someone Black Hitler necessarily racist. Like, what if, I don't know, so like someone literally was being Black Hitler, would, like, what, like, I guess I don't know the arguments that this person was making. Like, you could say that it's like misanalogous or unanalogous, I guess, like a bad analogy or a bad comparison, but like to say that it's racist, like there's
obviously
just, again,
know about it, and they
no
haven't done anything. And my guess is that
explanation.
when it comes to people that they've collectively decided are okay to punch down on, people like Professor Flowers, then there's no real...
Again, I don't think it has to do with like deciding who's okay to punch down on or not. Like, it's just a question of how you do it, like how you engage with the other person.
incentive to...
Like, obviously you can criticize and like even meme about other people, but like just like don't be like nasty. Saying someone's like being Black Hitler doesn't necessarily, like, it depends on the context of the argument.
Crack
Like,
down on this stuff. When the people at the top have signaled that being mean and dogpiling the bad people is okay, then why would anyone say anything? If it's not advantageous from a PR perspective, then why bother? A related point here, and something that Lua brings up in her video, is that examples like these really make you wonder just how much racist shit goes on in these spaces unchecked. How many so-called leftists from this community have felt emboldened by like these really make you wonder just how much racist...
Okay, now these two comments on the right, definitely think these seem kind of racist. Okay, or well, the top one kind of sexist, but the bottom one kind of racist.
This shit goes on.
But notice how they have no likes, 0.
In these spaces unchecked. How many so-called leftists from this community have felt emboldened by Vaush or any one of his orbiters to pile on to Professor Flowers? And how many of them are going to get away with it? How many of them will say years down the line, oh man, that Professor Flowers drama was really crazy, right guys? It was fun while it lasted though. Meanwhile, 6 months of racist harassment that almost resulted in Lua quitting YouTube.
Okay, 6 months of racist harassment. I still need some substantiation of that harassment. I saw that one comment where it looked like it was like a racist comment. It had 0 likes and also wasn't something that Vaush necessarily directed. Obviously, there's always going to be some bad apples in everyone's communities. To a certain extent, like there gets a point where you're accountable, but when it's just sort of like a handful of people, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
And worse. And that just really doesn't sit right with me, And I hope it doesn't with you either. I hope this causes you to wonder, like, hey, why does stuff like this only seem to be a problem when people shine a spotlight on it? Are we okay with this sort of deferential treatment for marginalized creators just because it's been greenlit from the top? These are things that I feel like we should be thinking about.
Would it be greenlit from the top? That still hasn't been justified either. Like, where's like the like clip of like Vaush being like, yeah, racism okay against Professor Flowers? That one, I am passing that one through. I'm signing off on this piece of legislation right here. Everyone watch me signing off on this executive order. This time we're gonna allow racism. Like that's just, I just haven't got really any evidence substantiated, like to substantiate any of these claims.
I don't know anything actually, so don't listen to me.
Yeah, I also don't know anything, so fuck, man. Don't even listen to me, man.
So time has passed, right? And as I said, things have mostly calmed down for me, but I still wanted to speak on this experience, not just because it has been exhausting, but really because I know I haven't seen anywhere close to the worst of it, and that genuinely worries me. It worries me for the people that may experience this without the protections that I'm afforded, or without the support base of being somewhat established as a content creator. It saddens me for the people who have already gone through it, people who I know are just trying to do good with the odds stacked against them, and being nearly driven off of the platform because of it. I really don't want to see that happen to anyone, and regardless of your opinions of any of the people that I mentioned here, I hope you can understand where I'm coming from when I say that. This video is not a personal attack on any of the creators that I've mentioned. All of this does stem from my concern over mistreatment in online spaces, and thus mistreatment in any form in my name is, don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Don't be little freaks, okay? Okay, well, be little freaks, not that kind. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thanks again to Casetify for sponsoring this video. Go to patrons who should be scrolling by right thing. I'm a whether or not you can see ya. I hope you can understand where I'm coming from there. Anyways, take it out. Take it easy.
Okay. I mean, I guess at the end of this video, I guess I don't even know where I stand. I watched it and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, wow, I came into this video not knowing anything, just knowing like the drama meta, and I came out of this video and really still not knowing anything, just the drama meta. I guess at the end of the day, like, these are criticisms that would be fair if I could just have them substantiated, but in this video I fail to have them substantiated. Maybe if I watched all the other clips and stuff I would, but I feel like that's probably not the case, because if it were, any of the justifications or evidence would have been provided in this video to better back up your points. But I guess that's just where I stand on it. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But anyways, these are just my reactions to this as a viewer coming into it, kind of blank slated, unfamiliar. So I guess that's it. Peace.